Him on. Okay, in this room I don't hear an echo.
I don't hear an echo either.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. So maybe it was just that room. Do you see my little ghost face guy I made?
I do.
He's got a little banana knife is what he's got. And I made
hilarious.
Shirts of that. Team Banana Pants! I did. There's a link in the description. By the way, speaking of cool shirts, look at my Nightwatch Zone shirt. On the back it says, "Let's get down to brass tacks." I can't say it as cool and mysterious. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm ready. Let's go.
All right.
If you guys are watching in the chat, let me know so I can say hi to you. All right. So, pretty exciting stuff. So, let's just start with, what'd you think of the movie?
Well, when I went to the theater, it was a fun experience. A lot of that is because we've been following this forever, talking about it forever. There's a lot of excitement, curiosity. So we got there, me and Coriander, and we're pumped, ready to watch this thing. Overall, it was fine. I had some frustrations with it, but I've also had time to let it sit now because I saw it on opening night, Thursday night. So I've had some time to let some things sit with me. And also some of the theories that I have for Scream 8 kind of changes my perspective on 7 a little bit, which sounds really weird, but I'm sure we'll get to that. But overall, I think it had some good moments. It had, some frustrating moments as well. And I'm sure we'll get into that. But yeah, I mean, listen, there's a lot of people online on both sides of the fence, and I've heard some people say
this is like politics.
Yeah, right. With this fandom, it almost has to be like politics. It's
not
crazy.
Quite, I think, to the Halloween levels of divisiveness, but it's getting there. It's getting there.
It is getting there, man. This is like, but no. I mean, some people have said this is the worst thing they've ever seen in their life, and I'm like, guys, no, it is not.
At the theater I went to, it was actually really cool. Everyone was pretty jazzed, and we have like a VIP one, which is just you pay more, and then there's like comfier seats, and they bring out drinks too. It's super cool. But everyone, I like it just because I've had too many experiences, even at 9 o'clock at night, where I went to see Predator Badlands, and children were building forts. I'm like, really? Really? I am not here for this. So the VIP is awesome because it's 21 and up. I digress. Everyone's there in their Ghostface shirts. Like, you could tell people were pumped for this movie. They were here
Yeah.
for it. We came on the Thursday. You know how some places it opens on Thursday instead of Friday. And as soon as the movie ended, this guy goes, "Well, that was the worst one." I'm like,
Oh,
damn.
wow. We didn't have that in my theater. Like everybody
Yeah.
was like
Most people
every
seem to
every
like it. Just that
yeah,
one
yeah,
guy.
I mean, I think the room I was in, they had fun with it. They kind of had some cheers with the opening scene. They had some cheers when Gale appeared. They had some cheers with Sydney in different spots. The cat fight at the end, people were cheering. So yeah, my theater was pretty positive
Oh,
overall.
that's cool.
Yeah, yeah. It helps, when you have a nice room to be in, that definitely can help your theater experience. There's no doubt about that to me.
I agree. So, I mean, overall, I mean, I will say it is the bottom of my ranking.
Okay.
But
Yep.
I feel like I have some unpopular opinions with my ranking. But I won't say that there's a bad film in the franchise. It's not like if I rank Friday the 13th, where there are the ones that are what I would recommend, and the ones I recommend only if you're a diehard Jason fan. Like, there are just
Yeah.
some, if you're a mainstream audience person, I'm not going to suggest go see Jason Goes to Hell. That's for us diehards.
You know what's up. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So I think they're all worth owning. I think they're all at the very least 3 stars. I don't think there is a bad film in the batch. However,
Mm.
I do feel that Scream is starting to become the movies that it used to be commenting on.
Yes, yes, that's exactly what I was saying. It just feels like we're getting closer and closer to that point where the films are diving into what they used to parody. It's like what I don't know. It's frustrating because I feel as though this franchise has shown that it can be smarter than that, you know. And I mean, to give credit, Kevin Williamson, saying he was a co-writer, he didn't co-write as much as I'm sure a lot of us expected or thought he was going to, because the AI angle wasn't him from what I've found out. The third act wasn't him. His main thing was some of the dialogue with Sydney and Tatum and Gale and those types of things. So that's frustrating because it's too bad that he couldn't have gotten a handle on more
I
than that.
think that relates to the comment he made, how it's not as meta as the other ones are. I think he was trying to prepare people for that. But on top of that, it's also just not as like slick or smart with the things that were on the original's VHS case. It
Right,
was
right,
really
right.
notable for its really sharp dialogue. And
Yep.
everybody knew about horror movies, and so they were not, even if you weren't a fan of horror movies like Sydney, you were not going to make those mistakes. You lived in a
Right.
world where horror movies existed, and you were not going to be that person. And I'm watching this movie and I'm thinking, bless their hearts, but have they ever seen a horror movie? Like,
Right. Right.
girl, why are you throwing chairs into windows and stuff? Like, this is not what we're doing here. Why are we all hanging out in the bar here? Let's get the
Right.
heck out of here. So I
Right.
felt like these were decisions that the cast in the first one wouldn't have made. The characters in the first one wouldn't have made. It's still a perfectly fine slasher movie. But it's
Yes.
not Scream in the same way that the originals were, where these were characters who knew the rules and who had to kind of elevate what they were doing to a degree.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that look, I mean, the bottom line is that this franchise is turning 30 years old this year. This is the seventh film, and it's very hard to maintain that ceiling that they've been able to reach. In my opinion, they've been able to reach that ceiling at least with 3 of the films. As far as my ranking is concerned. So now you have a seventh film, and it just feels as though they wanted to lean a lot on nostalgia,
Yeah.
which okay, fine, that's okay if it can be executed correctly. I'm fine with that. But the problem I had was they were leaning on nostalgia so much, but it didn't pan out to that Super Bowl type of feeling that I thought they could have had if they made at least one specific creative choice that they didn't. And I think we
Oh
know
yeah.
what I'm
I'm
talking
glad
about.
we got some time today because
Yeah,
oh, we're getting into it, my friend. We are getting into
yeah,
it. um,
yeah.
but yeah, it was a little frustrating because it's like a troll said in the chat. It felt like Friday the 13th. So I mean, it's perfectly fine as a slasher movie, but I
Yeah.
think, like even the part where Mindy, she starts to say, this time it's about nostalgia, and nobody wants to hear a word she has to say. Nobody cares.
Right.
They don't care about
Right.
horror movies. There's only one character who cared about horror movies, and that's what's really kind of frustrating, is that's what made this franchise different than Friday the 13th. And that's great. I love Friday the 13th. I love Halloween, but I love them for being what they are. And
Yeah.
Scream, this is what sets Scream apart. So I do think Mindy has a lot to do with it. So I'll talk about Mindy a little bit. And I like Mindy as a character. I think Jasmine Savoy Brown is fantastic. I adore her. It's
Yep.
nothing to do with her as an actress. It's something with the character, and I can't quite pinpoint it. So
Mm.
it was a mistake to get rid of Randy, because Randy was the person who told us these rules. And Randy was
Yep.
essentially an audience insert character.
Right.
He was this kind of nerdy guy, and it made sense to switch over to Kirby, because
Hmm.
now all of a sudden being that nerdy horror movie person is cool. And so it makes sense that
Right.
we have a cool person now. Like, she's cooler than Randy. So it was actually was okay finally that they got rid of Randy, because now
Hmm.
Kirby's got it. They should have stuck with Kirby, because
Yes, I
then
agree.
they try to go over to Mindy, but the problem is nobody in Mindy's friend group listens to her. She's not cool like Kirby, where they actually listen to her because she's cool. Or even Randy, I think they knew they were in a horror movie, so they listened to Randy. Nobody has listened to her. Every time she says
Right.
anything, and then they make jokes about her being wrong a lot, which I was trying to think, like, how wrong has she really been? I mean, she knew one of the killers in the last one on the subway train, but they
Yeah.
have zero respect for her. And so how are we as the audience supposed to relate to her and be like, hey, she's savvy on these rules, when even her friends don't respect her?
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing too is that, and I love Jasmine as well. I think she's fantastic as an actress. But the other thing that they have done that undercuts her so much is that she always gets stabbed and taken out of the movie, right before that third act, she's taken out. And to me, it's done in a dumb way. Maybe in 5, it was okay because it was an homage to Randy, because he's watching Randy talk about the rules and stab and, and all that type of stuff. So that was kind of cool. But anyways, I just feel as though they've undercut her so much. Whereas with Kirby, listen, and Hayden's a great actress too. I don't necessarily think she's a better actress than Jasmine, but they gave her that punch, that zip.
It's the
That's
writing is what it
it's the
is,
it's
because
yes, you're right.
they like her because they established early on she knows her movies. She's talking about Shaun
Yep.
of the Dead. She's throughout the movie she's giving trivia, and they listen to her and they think she's cool. And there's a character who
Right.
even likes her because she's cool. She knows movies. She has that great scene where she's ripping off all those movies, and we're like, oh man, this is
Yep.
our girl.
Exactly.
She knows
Yep.
her shit. They've
Yep.
never given Mindy that. We are
Yep.
told Mindy knows movies, but then her friends keep telling her how wrong she is all the time. And I
Yep.
feel like also the other difference is it's one thing for Randy to kind of pull everyone into a room and be like, here's the rules, and everyone kind of laughs at him, but they listen to him anyway because he's a dork. But Mindy is, they don't listen to her, and she almost seems
Mhm.
to be kind of talking down to them a little bit, which is why I think they don't listen to her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She
So
definitely has that type of vibe, and so she doesn't win over her audience
exactly,
in
because
the
we don't want to
movie
be talked
or
down
us.
to.
Right. Yeah,
We
yeah,
know
yeah.
this
Yeah.
stuff.
It's crazy. And even in this movie, I mean, I will say I enjoyed those few moments that she had with Chad, and I enjoyed her characterization in this more than 6. Um, hey, Ghost in the Dark, what's up, man? Good
Welcome.
to
I'm
have you
happy to
here.
see you here.
Yeah. I did enjoy the way she was characterized in this film more than 6, but she didn't have much to do in this film. And to be honest, her and Chad didn't need to be in this film. They really didn't.
So I have to
Um,
disagree with that. So
oh, okay, okay.
I was not a fan of really any of the kids in part 5. I didn't like the new cast at all. And I felt
Mhm.
like the nostalgia stuff worked in part 5 really well. I liked seeing the old cast, but I was not into these new kids at all. And
Mhm.
then part 6, I finally was like, okay, I like the core 4, especially Chad. I
Right.
just loved them. I really grew to like them in part 6. And so this one I come in liking these characters, so excited. I'm cheering when Gale's coming in with with the twins. Here's what I love about Mindy in this. It did not work making her replacement Randy. I know it's insane. She's his niece. She should be perfect. No, Kirby did it well. I feel like just the lines they're giving her and stuff, it's just not working.
Right.
But she's perfect as a replacement Gale. I absolutely adore her as a replacement Gale.
Oh yeah. No, I love that angle too. I wish they could have, kind of went down that road with that a little bit more. And I know they didn't have really enough time because they're focusing on Sydney and Tatum, and then of course you've got, the friend group in here, which they didn't really do much with the friend group either. But I get it. But I do wish we had more Mindy in this film, because that was a really interesting, angle with her trying to be like Gale,
like
and
taking the mic
and it
and
works.
everything. And it really does work, because there's something about, like, with Kirby, even though she was like very cool and stuff, like seeing how upset she is trying to protect her friends, there's something about her that came off that she really did care about her friends. And Mindy does too, but I feel like they've given a lot of the heart to Chad's character, and she doesn't get a lot of those moments or those lines. So having her be the new Gale, who's very opportunistic, and it's like, nope, I don't care that I'm stabbed, I'm gonna take the mic. Like, that's super adorable, and I love that. I love that way more than her. Like, she had one line about, like, it's all about nostalgia, and they didn't even let her go, but
I know. I know.
it was lame.
Yeah, it's too bad, man. Like I said, these movies have shown that they can be so creative and smart with the dialogue of these characters, even in the films that have issues, like even like in 3. They had some great character moments in 3, even though of all the issues before with the production and all that. So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens with 8, man. Fingers are crossed that they, we know they pay attention to online chatter from the fandoms and so forth. I can only pray that they are paying attention to how you really do have 2 camps. You know what I mean? And they might kind of veer in towards the middle, but there's those people that love this.
I got theories
And
for you.
oh, okay. What do you got?
I think it's gonna. I think we're gonna come together like the Beatles said right now. I feel it. I feel it. I have so many theories, but okay. So I have a feeling. So I'm not sure how familiar are you with Paranormal Activity? Like, do you like these movies?
Yeah, I like those movies. I mean, the last couple of sequels I kind of, don't remember as well, but yeah, I enjoyed them.
No one blames you for that.
That's true.
I loved the first one. I thought it was one of the scariest movies I ever saw. I also saw it on a screener that was unlabeled, so that movie scared the bejesus out of me.
Ooh.
I'm dating Danny, and he's like, you're the most ridiculous person in the world. How is it that movie scares you? And,
right.
And I'm just like, it really scared me. And he just didn't get it. He really hated Mika in it. So I tell you guys this story for a reason. Don't worry. We watched Paranormal Activity 2, and now he's like, oh, I get it now. He had like this need to show that he's as good as his brother-in-law. He was buying all this stuff because he's like, well, they got rid of their problem. They didn't have a big issue. He didn't have all the information. So retroactively, it made him like part 1. I think Scream 8 is going to make people retroactively like Scream 7, including me. If I am right and my theories are correct, it's going to bump up that list because it's right below Scream 5. I'm about neck and neck with both of them. I've got a lot of issues, but there's a lot of things I love about both movies.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I'm in the same boat. There's a lot that I really enjoy, about 5, but I had some issues, although it is changing. I just watched 5 like 3 weeks ago in preparation for 7. And I was kind of, I don't know, it was hitting me better
Warming
in
up
general.
to it.
Yeah. And 7 might do the same thing, but I agree with you. If they can do a couple of certain things, one major thing with Scream 8, I definitely think it can fix a lot of what went on in 7. I really do.
Are you ready for my Team Banana Pants theory?
Yeah, I am.
Hold on to your butts.
Okay.
Right. So here's what I think. So I found out that originally the ending of this one was supposed to reveal, as you probably know, that Stu was alive. And then
Yeah.
they changed it because test audiences didn't like it. And that makes sense to me. I think you're throwing a lot out there. There's a huge camp of people who are like, I refuse to believe that he could possibly be alive. Where's he been? All these questions. But this movie, Scream 7, did answer those questions. Where has he been? He's been in an institution. Why didn't we know he's had amnesia? All of those questions people have had. And you need people to give people a chance to settle with that. You can't also then say, okay, here's the answers to all your questions. And also he's this big bad. It just doesn't work that way. There's a reason why Harry Potter didn't have a full blown brawl with Voldemort in the first movie. You got to build it up. This one's laying the foundation, and we already knew they had plans for Scream 8. Williamson and Nev Campbell have already had a lot of plans for this, and he's been talking about how it's her journey. I think it would have just been too much to have him be alive in this. But you know what they didn't do? They didn't say, well, where's his body? Never did find out where his body is.
That's right. The coroner thing, right? Yeah.
And we had obviously a fake AI thing for Stu on the boyfriend's laptop because the boyfriend didn't do it. We know that. The boyfriend was innocent. He's dead. So that's not necessarily evidence that that was all AI. Here's the other thing. Why does the AI look to be a man in his 50s have scars all over his face if the only evidence they have is him looking like a high school student? There's some other things too. Some of the things he said. Now, what they would know in their universe is what was in the Woodsboro Murders book by Gale Weathers and the Stab movies. Gale would only have information from the tape because they were recording and things she was there for. But I don't think she would know the exact inflection and all of that and how he behaved, Stu behaved with Sydney. Like, I've always had a thing for you, Sid. He duplicated that exactly. And Gale was not there for that, and it's in a different room from where the tape is. So I think that was him. I think he was messing with her. And biggest thing that makes me think that is, what the fuck was the deal with that beginning?
Yeah, I know that exactly. I was like, these movies always have like connective tissue with the opening, and in this film, look, and I was talking about this on the collective, and Fate was, how Fate is. He's always trying to argue something. He said, well, it was connective tissue because, it just showed that, there was still a Ghostface killer and, getting Sydney to wonder and yeah, you could reach for that. But in all the other films, it was a lot tighter in the sense that it was someone that was connected to the people that were being attacked or killed.
Exactly. So guys, this is a spoiler one. I love that Queric's back because he heard my original banana pants theory. Yeah, so who are our killers here? We have an orderly from the institution, which doesn't even make sense. Because if Stu wasn't really there, then how is he tied into it? He's not. He's just a rando. Because Anna Camp's character wasn't there. So that doesn't make any sense unless Matthew Lillard's Stu was actually staying there, which he was. And then you have this woman who apparently has and I liked that. I wish they would have done more about it with it. The idea of parasocial relationships.
Yes.
She feels betrayed by Sydney, just like a lot of fans felt betrayed by Nev Campbell when she didn't come back for Scream 6.
Yep.
They could have dug into that more. And
they really could have.
That meta, but they didn't. But
I know.
I think, again, because it was supposed to be Stu. And see, here's the thing. She killed her own kid. You know when people kill their kids and do things like that are really insane? When they get wrapped up in cults. When they are taken in by somebody who's charismatic and tells them what to do. Like Amber, she was radicalized by somebody who made a Reddit post. It was Stu. Right. And Anna Camp, I think she read this book, she was in a bad relationship, and then Stu found her at exactly the right time. Maybe through a post. I'm not sure if they've even met in person, but she got brought into this Stu cult. Likewise, when he's staying at the institution, he wraps Ethan Embry into it. They're just people who are a part of his cult. He is alive. And just like Amber said that she killed Dewey, which she didn't, that was Stu. They're covering for him because his big reveal is going to be the next movie.
Yeah. Yep. That's their only play. You nailed it. And I think a lot of people have realized that right now, with the cast that they have, Isabel, Nev, Courtney, the twins, what could they do in this next movie that number one could really work, right? And also kind of band-aid Seven. You gotta have Stu. You gotta cross the goal line. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's the only real play that they have, because here's the thing. For the people that were frustrated with the third act and the reveal and the motive, which is a high percentage of people, even people that like the movie, at least from that I've talked to, and people in the chat, most people have agreed that that third act was kind of a moment of the film.
Wah, wah.
So how do you fix that? You bring back Stu. You bring
Exactly.
back Stu.
And
That's the
see,
and to me
here's
it's the
the
only thing
other
you can
thing.
do.
A lot of people said they're screwed either way. And like you said, they listen to us online. They watch, I'm not saying they watch every stream, but they do pay
Right.
attention to the chatter, the message
Yeah.
boards, the streams, those kind of things. And a lot of people guessed it was going to be Stu.
Oh
Everybody knew
yeah.
Matthew Lillard was in this. Though I will say, I
Oh
was so
yeah.
surprised that Mrs. Loomis was in it. That was like a little surprise.
I actually had heard an interview that they had with Laurie Metcalf where they kind of asked her, everyone's coming back, do you think there's a chance that Mrs. Loomis could show up? And the way that she answered it, it just got me thinking. So I actually had a video out saying,
Oh,
man, we might see Mrs. Loomis too. So they didn't necessarily surprise me. I kind of wish I was surprised, because
yeah.
I was even seeing her on screen. I was like, oh
Well, I try
wow, they
to
really
really
went there.
avoid a lot of stuff. I mean, I watch like you and Jake and a few other people, but I don't watch every little thing because I want to be
Right.
surprised and I want to
Right.
have my
Right.
own ideas about stuff. So,
Yeah.
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 I was surprised. I thought that was fantastic, which is hilarious because I truly did not like her as a killer. But I was like,
I
oh,
know.
times
I
pass.
know.
Scream 2 is my second favorite of the franchise. Like,
I love Scream too. Yeah.
hey,
But the other thing
Willie's in the
too.
chat.
Hey.
By the way, guys, we're still trying to raise money to help Wickabear Willie get his kidney. So there's a link in the description below down for that. If you're able to donate, it would help a lot.
Awesome. Awesome. Much love. Much love. I think that the other thing too about the AI thing, or about Stu, and I was just saying this last night. I don't think, out of all my friends, content creators that I, know, people in the live chats, especially people that wanted Stu back, I don't think anyone thought 100% he was going to be back. Most of us were thinking, well, we want him to come back, we hope, but it's going to be a long shot. So to me, not revealing him in seven, or maybe not like leaving just like a huge breadcrumb, like even if they left a huge breadcrumb, I think that that would have really elevated people's experience with
I
this film.
wanted an after credit scene.
I did too, man. I was just sitting there, and I told this to Jake when we were talking about in the collective. I actually, before Anna revealed herself, this is the first time I've ever done this in the theater. I pulled out my phone and I hit record, because I'm thinking, and of course I was, obviously thinking about Steven as well. And I was
Yeah.
just like, here's the moment. If it happens, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna make a video, title it Steven was right, that type of thing. And
Yeah.
I was really pumped up. But yeah, I waited for the after credits too. But to my point, no one 100% believed that Stu was going to be in this. Most of us were like, they're not going to do it. And through the movie, Sydney is kind of going back and forth. And if they had just revealed him, or a big breadcrumb, I think it would have made that angle of Stu being in the FaceTimes better, because it's kind of like, well, yeah, and they even said it, well, that would be stupid if he was alive. And it's kind of like, it just takes the air out of the balloon.
But here's the thing. I this is why I say they're gonna bring us together. They've set it up perfectly, because even though I was like you, like I'm like,
Yeah.
you introduce him and you have a Ghostface get away, because we've never had a Ghostface get away, right? I thought that would be
Hmm.
rad, but then I thought about it, I'm like, no, this is actually freaking perfect, because everyone had everyone knew Matthew Lillard was in it. We weren't sure if it was AI or if he was going to be the killer, but a lot of people were. And there was people already saying, well, if he's the killer, it's dumb. And a lot
Yeah.
of people had already made their stance on it. And, a lot of people who aren't even horror fans just assumed he would be Ghostface again. And
Yeah.
it would be fun, but Scream is supposed to have these great twists. That's what's fun about guessing. So in this one,
Hmm.
they have set it up. I think they did give us that breadcrumb you're looking for because the body is missing.
Right.
And
Yeah.
what's fun is they said, well, that's dumb. He's dead and everything, right? So that gives it leeway. So in the next one, they're like, well, we never did find his body, but don't do the AI thing. Don't have him show up until like halfway through. And then it's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
big shocker that he's back. And don't advertise
Yeah.
that he's in it. Keep him
I was just about to say
completely
that.
quiet about
Yep.
it. Don't
Yep.
spoil that. Otherwise, people are going to assume that he's for sure Ghostface.
Yeah, I think that well, see, and that's the other issue for 8. They've got to overcome a lot of stuff. We'll see if they're gonna pull the trigger with this, which is to me their best play is to bring him in. But how do you keep it under wraps, right? Like I mean, the leaks are just so ridiculous. The leaks for 5, the leaks for 6, the leaks for this one.
I have to
I
have
was
more
ready.
than one script.
They'll have to have more than one script, and some way, somehow, whatever they have him do, whether it's halfway through the film or in that third act, they've got to figure a way where I don't know, like they got a skeleton crew with doing that scene, and of course, whatever actors are involved, you got to get those lips sealed in the contract or something because these leaks are just so ridiculous. I went radio silent almost 5 or 6 days before going to the theater. I went radio silent online, except talking
Yeah.
to just DMs, people like
Yeah.
you or the collective or my mods, and that was it. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't read comments. I had subscriber only live chats only 2 times in those last couple of days. So but they gotta figure a way to stop the leaks because I'll tell you what, if they were able to keep it under wraps and nobody leaked it, and we watched Scream 8, and let's say that first half or 2/3 is at least as good as this film, with a lot of, action and Ghostface is really, awesome and Nev is having some great stuff and blah 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 blah, and he shows up. I'm telling you, man, the internet is going to explode. It's
Well,
gonna
here's the
explode.
thing. You know how sometimes there's leaks and then there's leaks. It
Right.
was not a leak that Matthew Lillard was in there because they were dealing
Right.
with, and there was still a lot of controversy. They were dealing with the whole issue with getting rid of, well, not having either of the two sisters come back because Jenna Ortega quit,
Yeah.
and they
Melissa
got rid
Barrera.
of Melissa Barrera.
Yep.
So that was already massively controversial. There were tons of people who were like, I'm just not going to watch it. That's not cool what they did. I don't support Spyglass. And they were
Yep.
in a pickle. When they got Christopher Landon to direct, he said he was getting death threats.
Yep.
It was a
Yep.
really hard thing to bring back Scream 7. So the
Yeah.
first thing they did was get Nev Campbell. Actually, I think Matthew Lillard was announced even before her, wasn't he?
Um, that's a good question. I don't know if he was before. If he was, it was right before.
I remember a lot of people saying the only way that they would get this people to come back for Scream 7 is if they brought in Stu. And I think they were listening. And I think that's why they announced pretty early on Matthew Lillard is going to be back. Nev Campbell's going to be back. Hey, we've got Kevin Williamson directing. Please come back. So I
Right.
think
Right.
they wanted everyone to know so that you would come back. And you know what? It worked. Because at
Yeah,
first
it
I
did.
was like, oh, that's kind of crappy. I'm not excited for Scream 7. And then I'm like, okay, I'm getting kind of excited. And then I was
Right.
stoked.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they were smart. But yeah, they
Yep.
had to announce that. And this next one, they don't.
I know. And I just, like I said, to me, that's the play. And I just hope there's some way they can keep it all under wraps. I really, really do.
Same.
Yeah.
So, do you have any theories?
Well, I think that for me, again, they got to bring Stu back. And I think it has to be this whole idea that he was pulling strings for a while, like you said, all the way back to 5 with the dreaded thread and all of that. I think it makes sense. We know in 6 that there are multiple, groups of would-be Ghostface killers when we saw Jason and Greg in the beginning. So it's no stretch whatsoever that this is actually canon and can be used in 8. And I think it's a great way to do it. He's been trying to pull strings from the shadows and all of that. And he comes back at least halfway through. maybe third act, but at least halfway through, he is revealed. And whatever happens in the film, he does not get killed. We got to set this up for 9, make it a true trilogy, and boom, there you go.
I
Give me that.
100% agree with that. And yeah, I think they need to keep it on the down low. But the other thing I think too is they need to bring back Kirby. Because
That would be
Kirby is
great.
somebody that we trust for the horror movie knowledge. I also really like the idea because she said she had gone after a lot of other Woodsboro copycat type cases, and that's what got her
Hmm.
fired. But this kind of like cop who uses horror movie knowledge, like
Right.
that's the raddest thing I've ever heard of. And like they need to have her back. Maybe even have her be what's initially opens it. I think it would be fantastic to have her back. Night blinked out, but that's okay because I want to thank Martin Pedersen, 1392, for the super chat. They say, I'm sick of Survivor plot armor. If Stu is back, then he should be the only killer, and it needs to be a Survivor bloodbath. Also, stop showing all the cool parts in trailers. 100%. Yes, it ruined it for me. I mean, I was surprised how many things I should have looked at more closely. Like the body hanging that is, uh, where's Night at? I don't know. But the girl in the theater, famous actress. I'm drawing a total blank. But anyway, Tatum's friend. I should have guessed that was her, but I didn't because I didn't super overanalyze it. But yeah, I think they do show way too much stuff. And while we wait for Night, I'm going to give you a thank you for the. All right, let's find out what happened with Night. Uh, you okay? You okay? I don't know. So I did make a Team Banana Pants shirt, by the way. If you guys are interested in getting one for all your extremely out there screen theories, he even has a banana knife, guys. I mean, come on, it's pretty rad. Let me check on Night really quick. Um, I don't know. I don't know. All right, I'm gonna read some of your comments while we wait. Wicked Bear says Scream 8 has to go that route somehow. Also, yeah, the Scream 7 ending felt like a page from Scream 4 almost. I agree. Hey, Strange Monkey. Good to see you here, buddy. Give Survivor plot armor to killers. That'll be a twist. Are you a goth mommy? Yeah, I'm a goth mommy, but my kid is 21. So, yeah. But absolutely a goth mommy. Let's see. I have a few other things. We're going to be having the Oscars, which is probably one of the biggest events Danny and I do over on Horror Addicts. I co-host it with him, and we have live presenters from just all over YouTube. Tons of different presenters, including the Lethal Collective, which includes Night, my guest today. Hey, Night's back. Okay, Night's back, guys. I'm gonna fix this. He's back. But yeah, this Friday the 13th, definitely check out the Oz Scares. It's going to be wild. And I know we've got Rhonda Shear for one of them, so I'm stoked.
Hey.
Hey, you okay?
All right. Oh yeah, I am. I was like, what happened? And then I'm like looking at my settings and I was like
The
resetting it.
conspiracy people were out for you.
I guess so. You
It's
never
cool.
know what to expect.
So we are talking about our theories for Scream 8. So I
Yeah.
definitely think they need to bring Kirby back, which is great
Yes.
because I kind of want to see, like I said, Mindy move in towards taking over the Gale role. And someone
Yeah.
said getting rid of the plot armor. I agree. It is time to kill Gale, guys. Like, I thought she should have died in this one. Definitely
Right?
kill her in the next one. Time to kill her.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, there were some good moments with Gale and Sydney, and I was happy to see that. They did more with Gale in this movie than in 6, so that was good news. But I just feel like she's just at the end of the road. There's nothing else, at least right now, that they've shown to be interesting enough to allow her to keep just going from movie to movie to movie, and I think it should be the type of thing where she sacrifices herself,
I agree.
to save Sydney or to save Tatum. That makes sense to me, and then that can be something that either Nev or Isabel can work with as weight, emotional weight. So it's just like in the wrestling business, putting someone over, you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like, and this is exactly the same idea with Gale. And not only does it put Sydney or Tatum over, but it gives Gale a heroic ending. Finally the arc comes to a close, and everything that she's been struggling with, dealing with, as she thankfully acknowledged Dewey in this film. And it's like,
Yes.
okay, yeah, and I was so glad to see that. And it's like, well, now she can do one of the most heroic things that she's ever done, and then we call it good.
Yeah. I agree with that. And I actually I did really like Gale in this movie. I thought
Yeah,
the last
yeah,
the last movie and part 5, I just feel like they killed the wrong kid. I'm sorry,
yep,
but that's where I stand. Like, why'd you kill Dewey? Like, Gale was right
right.
there. It would have been so much
Hmm.
cooler to see him, because he really would have mourned her and given her the respect she deserves. Where I feel like Dewey hasn't had that as much. It makes me sad.
That's
But
right.
I like that we remembered Tatum, and she finally got, I think, some proper mourning and remembrances in this one, which was great. Talking about how
Yep.
she was a good friend to Sydney even before the events of Scream,
Right.
and I think that's important. But with
I
Gale,
agree.
I liked that moment when they're at the TV station and Sydney's ready for Gale to pull a Gale and do something completely insensitive and awful. And then she
Yep.
sees that she's really struggling, that she's, taking antidepressants, that she's having a hard time with it, and that this is how she copes. Doing her
Yeah.
job, getting to the bottom of things, finding the truth is how she copes. And
Yep.
so it makes us a little more sympathetic towards her. And I think I was like right there with Sydney at the end where she's like, I can trust you.
Yeah.
I don't always know where you're going and I don't always like
Hmm.
what you do, but I know you've got my back.
Yeah, I think it was a really cool full circle moment that definitely has been due. And it was great to see that. It really, really was. And like I said, they had some great moments. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of Gail if they could have found a way to kind of keep her still interesting in this. But, you know, look, when we think about what they did to her in 6, and even in 5, I don't think that they really utilized her in a very interesting way, except for her dialogue with Dewey.
Yeah.
Like that was her best scene. Whereas David Arquette was great in that whole movie.
Yeah, he was
You know,
fantastic.
they found a way to make his character interesting through being worn down and obviously just being so emotionally effed up, because he's not with the love of his life, and he knows that he can't be with the love of his life. So that was great stuff for David to work with. That was his best performance of the character in the franchise, in my opinion, and I think he always brought it as Dewey. So they just haven't been able to find something to that level for Gale. But like I said, in Scream 8, if she pulls the hero move, the heroic sacrifice move, I think it's not only a great way for her arc to end, but it could lift up Sydney or Tatum, to have a lot of emotional baggage to deal with.
Yeah, I agree. We got another person saying, I love Gale's entrance. This is Chris Nichols' world. They need to start killing legacy characters, though, to keep the franchise alive. See, I was saying this, too, with the original trilogy. It's like, I love Gale, Sydney, and Dewey, and you can't kill Sydney. You just can't,
Right.
because it kind of defeats
Right.
the whole purpose of she's a survivor. You can't
Hmm.
do that. But I would have been happy if Gale died, and then you would have had Dewey come back and maybe rejoin the police force and be kind of this like lone gunslinger type guy who's like all
Yeah.
grizzled and
Yeah.
cool, part doom prophet, part, and he's also connected to Sydney closer than Gale is, so
Hmm.
he could be there and be a part of Tatum's life and such. Whereas Gale, they're not friends. They have this thing they share.
Yeah.
They're bonded through this trauma, but they've never been friends.
Right. They're frenemies.
Yes.
I
Thank you
love it.
so much for the super chat. Maybe I'll play you guys another little video in a bit. Um, yeah, so I like that they're frenemies and all, but that relationship between her and Dewey was really special. And
It
especially
was.
this one with honoring Tatum, I wanted Dewey there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, watching those old movies, the older films with him in it, it was just something that he brought. I mean, it's so hard to express it the right way, but it's just like when he was on screen, there was just this charisma and this heart that was just so in front of you. You know what I mean? Like in every single movie, that scene that I'm sorry, Sydney had in four, when they
Yeah.
have that long look at each other, and whatever, some people say it might have been this, might have been that, whatever it is. To me, it's just he cares about people and he really cares about Sydney, and that's just who he is. Like Gail said to him in 5, you're not a coward, you're always the one running to help people.
Mhm.
And that's a really cool character to have in a film, let alone a franchise. And I just feel like losing him was really tough, because as much as I enjoyed Chad, especially in 6, he kind of was the heart, so to speak, but he's not Dewey.
He's
You know what I
not
mean?
Dewey. I do
And
adore
Mason has a
him,
lot of
but
charisma, but he's not Dewey. And it is what it is. But
and I
we'll
think
see.
he would have bonded with these kids and stuff too because he forms connections in a way that Gale does not.
That's right. That's right. He cares about him. He really does. So, it's just one of those, I don't know, it's just one of those things. And poor David Arquette, it's funny we're talking about this because I'm actually working on a video. But poor David Arquette, man, he actually described the day that he filmed his death scene. And he talked about how, he woke up, he had his breakfast or whatever. He went in, he did his scene, he performed all the stunts in that fight, and when he was done, he got in his car and boop, he left, and took a shower, got all the blood and stuff off of him, and he said that was it. I was just like, wow,
I
man, he
saw
really cared.
he did. I saw a video recently with the actress who played Amber talking about how she killed Dewey and stuff, and she was so kind of like having a good time, but I feel like a lot of people kind of turned on that character, especially when she was the one who killed Dewey. And I think
Yeah.
the closest we're going to get to a redemption for them killing Dewey, and especially in the way that they did kill him, is to reveal that it was Stu, which would make
Hmm.
sense because he's like a foot taller than Amber, and that ghost
Right.
face was not short.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I think, listen, like I said, this could fix so many things. And I'm telling you, I put it this way, I'm still cautious about getting my hopes up high, because who knows what's going to happen. Like you said earlier, and when I heard about the test audience, from what I understood, it was one test audience. I could be wrong on that. I
Yeah.
really could. But to me, it's like this is a huge decision. You're not talking about a scene being tweaked or just the ending. Stu being alive or dead affects the whole movie because it affects the motive, it affects the AI plot, it affects everything. And obviously it would affect 8. So it just blew my mind that they went on the strength of, well, from what I understand, one test audience. But
So it's just
yeah,
one test audience, huh?
I mean, I could be wrong on that, but when I read up on it and saw the quotes from Kevin, he didn't make it sound like it was audiences.
That's
So
a
but
bummer. I mean, and that's the
right?
thing too. I feel like maybe it was just dealing with all the negative pushback. I know there's even people protesting, and obviously there's a
Yeah.
lot of people who were very angry about this film.
Yep.
And that's fine. You can choose not to see it. It's fine. It's just a movie. But
Yeah.
don't go out of your way to go ruin it for other people. It's just
Hmm.
that's not fair. And with any kind of franchise, whether it's Jason, Halloween, anything, you need to know that as diehards, we're gonna re-marathon this series every year, even the movies we dislike or don't
That's
like
right.
as much. So it
Yep.
is important that you make these decisions carefully.
Right.
This
I
is
mean, and
Wes Craven's legacy. This means a lot to a lot of people. Like Mindy did
yeah.
have that one great speech in part 5 where people watched this with their parents, with their kids. It means something. You can't
Yes.
make these decisions lightly.
That's right. No, you're right. That was a great line. And again, it's a big decision. And obviously Matthew's been trying to get this thing to happen for years. And again, I'm just like I said, Scream 8, we're gonna find out, and I'm sure we're gonna hear about, more things, more info about this whole aspect of 7 and into 8. But Scream 8 will tell us if this was the plan all along, or if they realize, yeah, we probably should have swerved to the left instead of the right with Stu. Um, to me, they
I
don't
like
have.
that they're having a plan now. I mean, they've already got
Yes,
something in the works. And someone in the chat said Scream 8's been greenlit. Is that
yeah.
correct? Yeah?
From what I
I mean,
understand,
the
yeah, it's
movie
been
did,
greenlit.
whether you liked it or not, the movie made a lot of money. I think it made like records for the
Yep,
franchise. By the way, guys, I'm going to be
yep.
gifting. I have like 10 memberships I'm allowed to gift out a month. So I'm going to gift out 5 here really soon. So make sure that you have your settings turned on to where you can receive one. So I'll do that here in a little bit as a thank you. Yeah, I just found out you could do that. They could just give away memberships.
Yeah, it is a
Kind of
cool
cool.
feature. It is. It really is. Well, it's nice for YouTube to give us, those types of tools, to help give to the community, reward the community, and help the community feel, really special. Like
Yeah.
we should have a few more things we should be able to
I
do,
would like that. This is my thank you for the
Yeah.
super chat. So you guys can thank Chris Nichols for this. Make sure that your settings are on. And here we go. You ready? You ready, Knight? It's exciting.
Yeah.
Knight's a member of the channel.
Yeah,
You're like one
baby.
of the
Woo!
extra super special ones. You're the only spellcaster tier member I have. So
Oh,
you're the only one in green at the end. It's
woohoo.
pretty cool. All right, who got memberships? We got Talking Star Wars. That's so cool. Yay, Shannon. Julie Lynn, Denisha. We Stand with Lauren. That horror couple. Awesome. Awesome, guys. So
Sweet.
we do a movie watch party and we do a game night every month. And this month's movie watch party is going to be in honor of Mark Jones, the director of Leprechaun, and we're going to watch Leprechaun together. So
Ooh,
he was a really cool
nice.
guy. Did you ever get a chance to talk to that guy?
No, no, I never did. I would have loved to. I love Leprechaun. It's
Yeah.
I mean, the series got a little crazy,
He
but
only did the
that
first one.
yeah, that first film though was really really fun. I had fun with that one.
I did a review of it and he really liked it and we kind of became friends and he told me about his favorite stogies and stuff and then we were going to do a
Oh,
stream and I bought the stogie and everything. I've never had a stogie
oh,
before, but I still have it.
there
And
you
I
go.
wondered what happened. So I guess, his health just wasn't good and stuff, but he was a really nice
Yeah,
guy. Like I've never had that experience with any other review I've done where the filmmakers like commented and seemed to like
yeah,
it. So that was
that's
kind of cool.
awesome.
But
Absolutely.
Quiric gave me a super chat, and here, let me pull this out. And I want to ask you about Anna Camp a little bit more too.
Okay.
How much post movie info do you buy? Is what Quiric says. So let's answer that first.
Um, how much Williamson post movie info do I buy? Well, I tend to try to believe him, as far as what he might be saying about the film, um, especially if it makes sense. Obviously, some movies and some filmmakers and talent in front of the camera or behind will sometimes do damage control. Um, but I don't know. I don't feel as though Kevin would be necessarily dishonest about things. There might be things he may not go into. I could believe that, but I,
Yeah,
I think I think in general he'll be pretty upfront about things.
I agree with you. I think he's been in the biz long enough to be careful about what he says, so he's more likely to
Right,
refrain from sharing something than to share something incorrect. So
right,
I
right.
know he knows there's a massive Stu fan base, and
Yep.
so sharing the test audience thing, even if it was just one, might have been his way to kind of cover a bit. But I really feel like they can kind of have their cake and eat it too if they bring him in the next one because
Yeah,
they've
yeah,
covered it. They've covered all the things that the naysayers say.
yeah.
There's very probable reason to believe that he's alive, that he had amnesia, that's where he's been, and there's no body.
Right.
And the
Yep.
funny thing is Sydney, like I think she is essentially the audience insert for those people who are of the fate decided camp.
Yeah. Right. Right.
There's no way he's alive camp because she's like, no, no, no. And then halfway through the movie, she's like, oh, maybe.
Right,
right?
exactly. She started to become a believer, especially when she tried to get in touch with the coroner, and when the coroner died 2 years ago, or
Yeah.
whatever it was, and they don't have the paperwork of the body. There's no body, and it's like, as soon as that happened, I was in the theater, and I was just like, maybe. I was like,
Like,
maybe.
I think that comment, like it's stupid and stuff, gives that camp some validation and still gives them a place in this franchise because they have a voice too and they
Right.
are very vocal about it. But
Yeah,
I think it also is a way to still leave it open for those of us who would like him to come back. And I really think that's the only way you can be successful with Scream 8.
I agree. Because at some point, listen, and we've said this, way back when we saw the first trailer. At some point, Sydney has to have her send off, and it may not be forever. Maybe she just takes, 10 or 15 years off, just like Jamie Lee did, from Resurrection to 2018 or whatever. Um, because you can't keep doing the same thing, right? And so imagine Scream 8 comes out, and let's say someone's after Sydney again or after Tatum again or whatever, and it's some rando, maybe they're connected to Tatum, or maybe it's just someone that says, just like with Anna Camp in this movie, they have some connection that they formed with Sydney. It's just gonna feel very repetitive, right? So to me, the way you change it is Stu actually does come back.
Yeah.
Now we've elevated everything to the big time. Now we do have our own Michael Myers basically in a Scream film. This is the big time, the big match. And now everything is heightened, because he's the type of character that is heightened. And I think that can make Scream 8 work well, especially, if he survives and it leads to 9. You wrap it up in 9, and then boom, send Sydney off into the sunset. She's happy or whatever. Tatum could go off into the sunset too. And then with 10, you have new characters, just like they did with 5 and 6. Or either, well,
Or a
I,
different studio could get it, and maybe they'll even get Melissa Barrera
that
back.
exactly, that's what I was thinking. I mean, we can only hope and pray. I'm not going to hold my breath, but I would love to see that.
Yeah,
I would
I would
love to
kind of
see
like
that.
it to leave Spyglass's hands
Yep,
because I'm
I
not
agree.
super happy with all of the decisions they've made. But, you know, I mean, I know there's still controversy there, but it seems like Melissa Burr is happy for her cast members who were in this movie, and she certainly didn't want anyone to be going out and boycotting the film or anything.
Right, right. Yeah. I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, this is a franchise that has survived for 30 years. It's one of the big four. This franchise is 30 years. Elm Street and Friday are, 40 something years old. Halloween will be 50 in 2028.
Right?
There's a reason that these franchises have been around for this long. And, to me, the franchise is always bigger than the one part of it, and what happened to Melissa was horrible, the way that went on. But I think that she sees the bigger picture as well, as if to say, this was still a special thing in my life at that time,
Well,
and I don't want people to necessarily sully that, because it is kind of separate from what Spyglass did, as far as that decision, Gary Barber and so forth. They're not Kevin Williamson. They're not Nev Campbell. They're not, the cast and the crew that are actually on the set making the movie.
yeah, and I don't agree with their decision. I think it was lame, but she did
Yeah.
also know what she was doing. I don't work
Yeah.
for nearly as big a company as Spyglass, but pretty much every job I've had, I've been told I cannot post political things on my social medias. And I'm sure that goes double for actors, which all the
Yeah.
more reason why she's super courageous that she was willing to stand up against that, to post what she believes. And I think that's awesome. And I think, more people should be that brave. It
Yeah.
sucks that they did that to her, but
Yeah.
she made her decision. That was
Yep.
more important to her than staying with this movie franchise.
Yep.
Just like
Yep.
Christopher Landon made a decision. They're individuals. They can make their choices, but
Yep.
they're not telling everybody to go out and try and boycott the franchise or anything.
Yep. Yep. I agree with you 100%.
It's still part of her legacy.
Yeah, it always will be. I mean, listen, 30 years from now, people are still going to be talking about Samantha Carpenter, you know, and if she is able to do it, and I think she's pretty cool, she'll be at conventions and stuff like that. People are
Yeah.
going to be talking about what she did in 5 and 6,
We
you
had
know, so she,
two
yeah,
Latina final girls in two movies in a row. Like that's pretty freaking phenomenal. I can't
yeah,
think of too many like that. I mean, she means a lot to a lot of people and that doesn't just go away. And I know she's
right.
proud of it. And
Yep,
as a fan, I still love the character and I do hope she comes back eventually. I can see
yeah,
her not wanting to work with Spyglass again. Girl, I don't blame you, but
yep,
you know, we know how
I
these
agree.
things go. They don't always keep the franchise, but for me, it's like when the whole Joss Whedon thing happened, you know I'm a big Buffy fan, right?
Yep.
And it was rough. And a lot of my friends were like, well, you got to get rid of all your Buffy stuff. I'm like, no. I mean, he's an asshole, but, you know,
Yep,
I'm not going to get rid of Psycho because Alfred Hitchcock was an asshole. I mean,
right,
it's basically is what they did worse or bigger than how you feel about the franchise.
right,
And
right,
Will
right,
Wheaton had a quote saying, what it means to you is way more important than anything he did. And a lot of other people worked on that, and their work should be celebrated. You
right,
know?
right,
With
right. Yeah,
Scream,
exactly.
I feel like it's so important to like us and like to Steven and so many of our other close friends because it's not like Halloween where that franchise started before I was born.
Hmm.
And Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, those got started when I was a little kid, but I went to
Hmm.
see Scream opening day.
Hmm.
It's
Yep,
important to me, you know?
yep, yep, absolutely. And it literally saved horror, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it was such a big thing, man, and it really, you know, it's so interesting because Wes was able to do that multiple times in his career, and it's what horror needed at the time, and it trickled down for years after '96. For years, you know, and it really kept horror afloat, you know, until we got, you know, probably in the mid-2000s or so, and we had things like Final Destination and Saw, Paranormal Activity and stuff, and then, of course, in the teens, we had James Wan get into his other stuff, The Conjuring and these types of horror movies that took, you know, so much organic stuff from real life and kind of put it into it. And that was great stuff too. And now here we are back. You know, the cycle always comes back around. You have Halloween in 2018, you have Scream 5 in 2022, and now all of a sudden slashers are back and they're cool again. They're working again.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
it's great. You know, it's really cool stuff. And that's why a franchise like Scream is so amazing because it was kind of right in the heart of what was going on, and it has been able to, you know, survive and thrive up until now, you know. So again, it's a special franchise. It means a lot to a lot of people,
I think
as
that
it
the
should.
other thing that makes it so special to us is with Halloween, and maybe I'm revealing too much about myself here, but with Halloween, with Nightmare on Elm Street, with Friday the 13th, I am all about Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, and Jason. That's who I'm
Hmm.
rooting for. That's who I'm coming back for. Whereas with Scream, I'm about Sidney Prescott. I'm about the heroes of this franchise, not necessarily the ghost face, you know? The
Yes.
reveals
Yep.
are super cool, but you come back for the heroes, you know, for Samantha, for those characters.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. This is the one franchise where it's about the characters and not the villain. And that makes it special. I think it also makes it like deeper in that sense, you know, because of all of these interactions and these moments and these quotes and these things that each of these characters do, they like survive over you know, the test of time. Now, that's its advantage, but of course, the disadvantage of it, just like we have been saying a few times in the stream, you can't keep facing Ghostface and you don't
Exactly.
die
And that's
because
what
at
they're
some
saying in the
point,
chat, too. You can't keep
right,
doing the same thing over and over again, or you become
right,
the movies that you were commenting on.
right, right, because at some point you just got to call a spade. You know, it's like somebody, one of these killers has to be good enough to kill, you know, Sydney or Gale. It's like, come on, guys, and so that's the disadvantage in a sense, but I think the advantage, you know, is more important because you get so much attachment to these characters and they can live, you know, forever, you know, as they have so far.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. So, I want to talk a little bit more about our thoughts on the movie. So, for you, was this the worst Scream film?
Uh,
And being the worst doesn't mean you don't like it. It just means you
right.
like the other ones more.
Well, I'm still struggling. That's the one thing I haven't done yet. I haven't done my new official ranking. Um, and I'm still struggling with it. At 1.5 was at the bottom. Um, and
I
it's
want to
hard for
rewatch
me.
them, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I rewatched 5 like 3 weeks ago, and I'm vibing with it a lot differently. Like I'm having a lot more fun with it. So put it this way, so I don't rant too long. It's either in 6th or 7th place, for me. It's either in 6th or 7th place. It's hard to say because I do think it was some great stuff in it. I loved Ghostface pre-unmasking. I loved Ghostface in this film. There's some great shots. He was homaging Michael Myers a
The
lot. I'll give
freaking
him
thing
that.
with the beer tap was amazing.
Yes. I'm like, wow, Michael, good job. It's
Wow.
like,
You
he's
sound
coming
like a
out of the
proud dad.
I am. Look, man, I got him right there. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, he's coming out of the shadows like Michael out of the darkness. He's doing the sit up. He must have done the sit up
Yes.
at least 3 times. I'm like, Kevin, we know you love Halloween 78. Let's come on, man.
Have you
Stop
ever
it.
tried to do that yourself at home? That's like my core
It's it's
workout.
it's hard to
It's
do.
hard to do.
It is. That's why I give James Jude Courtney so much credit, man, because when he did it in the trilogy, it was perfect. I was like, wow, that guy's got a strong core. He really does.
You.
But
Sorry.
no, no, no. I'm just saying, yeah, I would have 7 either in last or second to last place.
Right now it's last, but I need to rewatch it. I need to rewatch.
Yeah.
That's what's really funny with a lot of these, and I feel this way with a lot of the franchises, and that's why even the ones that are in the bottom of my list, I love them all. I rewatch them all. I mentioned Jason Goes to Hell. You know how many times I've seen that movie? That's why
Right?
I said you got to
Yeah.
make these franchise decisions carefully because people will rewatch them just because it's part of a beloved franchise.
Yep.
You know,
That's
you
true.
marathon these for fun.
Yep.
So yeah, it's kind of funny because I used to have Scream 4 up really high, and the last time I watched it, I was not vibing with it as much, and I used to really
Ooh.
love that one. So it kind of went below 6. Like I'm really feeling 6 right now, but then
Mm-hmm.
it's just like Friday the 13th. I used to hate Part 5, and now it's one of my favorites. Like I'm having such a great time with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I
Same
love
here,
Miguel
man.
Nunes so much. I want to. He's one of my
Yes.
top people I want to meet. I adore him.
He is amazing. I love
Whenever Dan's
him.
in the
Seriously.
bathroom, I do that singing thing outside the door, and he hates
Ooh,
it.
ooh, baby.
Yeah.
That is
Sorry to
great.
the chat. I was wondering where you all went. My chat went completely dark for a bit, and then it suddenly
Oh.
gave me all your messages at once. So Post Maestro, I just now got your super chat. I didn't ignore you. I just got it. He said, or they said, the idea that the movie is calling Stu being alive dumb is totally negated by the fact that it would be calling Sydney dumb for taking it seriously. What do you think of that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and see, that's the problem with him not being revealed. Or again, if and I know the coroner thing was, the keeping the door open a little bit, but I wanted something even bigger for a breadcrumb, at least. If he wasn't revealed, at least something that, and it could have been cool, especially if it was like riddle like. You had to think about it for a second and be like, oh crap, that means he's alive, right? That would have been a great feeling leaving 7. But you're right, because he wasn't revealed and that door wasn't left as wide open as I wanted. It does really kind of put a lot of this on Sydney because it's like, yeah, she said he's dead. And she said it a bunch of times in the movie. And then, about halfway, she's like, oh, well, maybe it really is him. And so, again, it just seems like they just put so much on that plot device, and it petered off the cliff, and the only way it could have been saved is if the reveal with Marco and Jessica was like banger, which it wasn't. you
Yeah,
know
it
like
wasn't.
if
It
they
was a
if
bummer.
yeah, if their
Which is a shame because
reveal.
I do love both those actors. I love Anna
Me
Camp. I
too.
love Ethan Embry. Been a massive
Yep.
fan of him since Empire Records. It's just the way
Yep.
it was done because they didn't have that much of a connection to Sydney. But when you think about it,
Right.
if Stu is alive, then this guy has a pretty strong connection to Stu. He would have been there watching him recover. He would have been talking to him every day. if this
Hmm.
woman came from this horrible relationship and Stu was one of the people who was like there for her, then she'd be like, you know, why am I obsessed with this Sydney girl? Like, this person is actually here for me. And yeah, unfortunately, yeah, she did kill her kid, but
Yep.
people do crazy stuff like that. You know, I remember like back in the 80s, there was a lady who like drowned her kids because of a guy. So she's
Hmm.
really swept up in this cult thing. Who knows what she's capable of? Plus, crazy. So there's
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
also that opening, like to me, it just doesn't make sense. To me, that's a
Hmm.
huge breadcrumb because why would you open in Woodsboro if it's not set there? Why would you burn
Right.
down Stu's house? What, okay, so is Anna Camp's character gonna burn it down? That doesn't make any sense. What does Jessica?
None.
Jessica's never been there.
Yeah.
Or Ethan Embry's character, is he gonna burn it down? That doesn't. It doesn't even make sense why he'd be connected to this if Stu's not alive. It makes zero sense. The only
Yeah.
person who would burn that place down is Stu himself.
Yep.
Who would return
Yep.
to Woodsboro is Stu.
Yep. I agree. I mean, it would have it he's the key. He's the key to a lot of the logic jumps in this film. And if he's revealed, then it definitely elevates, Marco and Jessica. It elevates their whole game plan, which elevates the opening, which I mean, it's like dominoes, and so again, that was part of my frustration with this film is because when I was done and I was really thinking it over, I was just like, man, it's like why'd they do it like this? You know what I mean? Because like what if the movie well, we knew it was gonna do well, but if they didn't have an 8, or maybe it would have been a long time before 8 came around, it's like standing on its own, it just doesn't stand up to the other films as well in that
And
sense.
that's the other thing with Scream as well, as opposed to some things that I also love, like Evil Dead. Evil Dead doesn't attract mainstream audiences like Scream does. People who
Right.
are not horror fans will go see a Scream movie. So, like, they
Yep.
really need to work hard and make this one a banger, you know,
Yeah.
because you'll lose that mainstream audience if you keep releasing mid movies. And that's the problem with this. It's just that it was mid, it was fine. You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't a
Yeah.
banger. And when you have a franchise of bangers, it's really hard for it to stack up against, you know, these other films. But it was
Yep.
perfectly fine. There's not a bad movie in the franchise, and I think they all serve a purpose. You know, I've said for a long time, I think part 3 is some of Nev Campbell's best acting, some of our best
Mhm.
character moments. They all have something great. I think this is my favorite Mindy movie. I adore her as Gale Jr.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was some great moments, like I said. And again, that's why it was kind of like a tale of two movies for me. I loved some things, and then there were other things that I was kind of like, that's just kind of odd. So yeah, I don't know.
And Kelly, thank you for being a member for a month. It says the door opened and shut by itself on Anna's reveal.
Yeah,
So what's that
right.
about? I don't think I noticed that.
Uh, yeah, yeah. I mean, oh, you mean when she revealed herself? Oh, I thought she meant figuratively. I
I
don't
think
know.
she
Like,
means literally.
oh, yeah, I don't know. But all I know is that when Ethan was like, "Come on out, Stu," and Anna's coming out, and you could just tell they were they were teasing us so bad because even with her
Yeah.
reveal, she was like taking her time and like, and I was just like, come on, man, come on.
But
I mean,
even
I
the
knew she was
Ethan
going to be a
Embry thing,
killer.
like it's kind of rad that he doesn't remember if it was for Randy or Stu, but he auditioned for one of those and he didn't get the
Yes.
part. So like
Yeah.
I like that he's in it. I just think they could have done better by the character by giving him more of a tie to Sydney. It's just like with Roman. I like Roman. Roman's a cool character. But I was disappointed at the end of Scream 3 because I'm like, what the? Even Sydney was like, who are you?
Who are you? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
Who
crazy,
voted you,
man.
Trevor?
But thankfully, see, that's a great point. The thing I loved about 3 and Roman and what Scott was able to do, he takes off the mask. We have no clue, what his relation to this whole thing is. We know he's the director, the film guy, or whatever, but we're like, what's going on? And Sydney says the same thing. But then he has his little monologue, and that was cool. And then their scuffle, his intensity and their scuffle, it was great. So they
Yes.
were able to have a reveal that didn't really connect as well as the original or 2, but what happened after that reveal. It was like, okay, and plus his motive worked. I
Well,
loved his
and
motive.
part three Scooby-Doo. It's the most Scooby-Doo of
Yes.
the franchise, and I love me some Scooby-Doo. You guys, if you watch
Right.
this channel enough, you know that. So yeah, you unmask him, and in Scooby-Doo, it's usually like that one guy who was in the beginning of the episode for 2 seconds.
Yeah, right.
But it was fun, and the meaning behind it was really important because
Yeah.
of everything we learned about Maureen Prescott.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
the fact that it ended
Absolutely.
up being about family, it's one of those ones where I don't know how likely it was that you'd be able to predict which of the cast members was the killer. But if you thought
Hmm.
about it, they gave you enough breadcrumbs to say this is about her family. This is somebody in
Hmm.
her family. So
Yeah.
you could have
Yeah.
probably gotten that much. It wasn't just out
Hmm.
of nowhere, though.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that. That's true. Yep.
So about your predictions. So how did you
Mhm.
feel about your prediction? Because we make so many of these. We have to think like which ones are we proud of that we got right?
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
ones are were way off?
Well, I did peg Anna Camp as a killer.
Me too.
So that and you know what? And the other thing too, I was just talking about this last night. Um, they didn't hide her enough though, because right in the beginning of the movie, as soon as she talked, her relation to Sydney, she was just so sus. I was just like, yeah, I guess it is Anna. It just, I don't know. They didn't hide it well enough for me. But anyways, I did guess her, and of course, I also thought that it's possibly that she's Leslie, and that didn't happen, but I knew Anna Camp was gonna be
Yeah,
a
that
killer.
I thought she was going to be Stu's sister, and that would have given her
Yep.
more of a tie. I was mostly disappointed with her lack of a tie to Sydney. We didn't even get enough
Yeah.
scenes with them being friends, so I was
Right.
like, does anyone care? I'm more
Right. She
upset that
just
she killed her kid. Like, that's awful, lady.
yeah,
You're
she just
crazy.
popped up every once in a while and, "Oh, Sydney, oh, that's too bad." And it's like, "Bro, this is so Ghostface, it's not even funny."
Yeah,
But
I was like, girl,
yeah,
I can see your cloak.
yeah,
Like,
pretty much.
Kelly
Yeah.
did say she did literally see the gate open and close.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's good. I
Well,
wonder if there's
that's
more clues. I mean, we need to watch this
maybe.
at home and then also
Yeah.
maybe some deleted scenes and stuff.
Yep.
So
I can't wait.
I hope they show us that alternate ending. I want to see what was so upsetting to the test audience. So,
Man, I'm telling you, I'm just that's gonna eat at my craw for a long time, man. It really is. But
mm.
yeah, I saw Anna Camp. That was a theory I had for a long time. I also had the theory about the animatronic ghost face.
Yeah. I think we had
So
that
that
one at the when we were watching it because somebody mentioned that
yeah,
it moved. I think Eric mentioned it moved.
yeah, the way it moved didn't
Hmm.
look like it was
And
robotic or whatever.
I also thought that one of the ghost faces looked like it was a woman. So I feel like I
Yes.
got that.
Yep, yep, yep. I remember we talked about that for a long time. And I guess it made sense with the ghost face jumping out of the attic because I kept thinking to myself, there's got to be a young ghost face. That wouldn't be Stu, it wouldn't be Anna, and I guess having the other guy being the one, it made sense. Um yeah, and those were the main things that I really theorized that worked. There was a lot of things I theorized that didn't happen.
One
Yeah, which is
last one that
unfortunate.
I feel like I caught is as soon as he mentioned Ethan Embry, I'm like, he's got to be a ghost face. Like he's too important to the horror world to not be a ghost face. I even have a thumbnail where it's like, is he ghost face? And I was like, heck
Yeah.
yeah. One
Yep.
I should have gotten that I didn't get is McKenna Grace. I should have known. They show her dead body hanging in
They
the city.
did.
How did
I
we not
can't
get that?
well, and a lot of people said, "Well, maybe this is a fake out or whatever." And I was like, "Yeah, maybe." But once I saw that image, I had put up on one of my streams where it had Cece, Liv, and who else? I'm missing one. Tatum,
Yes.
all with the same plaid skirt. And then they had a picture of McKenna, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Well, I guess McKenna is definitely not a ghost face. She's getting killed. Um, but they gave it away in the trailers. Once again, I think the trailers did not do a good job by Scream 7, just like with
Let's talk
5.
about that. So
Yeah.
I didn't notice that. That was one where I was really pleasantly surprised. I'm like, wait a second, I saw this in the trailer. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like I was surprised when Steven didn't tell me until afterwards that he saw that the the deputy, you know who I'm talking about,
Who,
Wes's mom.
Mark?
No, in part 5.
Oh,
How she gets killed in the
Dewey.
trailer.
Oh, I'm just trying to think now.
Judy Hicks.
Oh yeah, Judy
Yeah,
Hicks.
so
Yeah, yeah,
Steven was like, oh, I saw that in the trailer, but I didn't want to tell you until after it came out. And I'm like, okay, I'm glad you didn't, because I didn't notice that
yeah,
stuff. Like, I miss a lot. So I'm
yeah,
glad
yeah.
I missed with McKenna Grace, too, but it was right there. So I was like, I'm glad I
It
didn't get
was.
it, but wow, you
Yeah.
put that in the trailer?
And they also pretty much, because I was another theory I had was maybe that opening scene has more to it than what they showed, and maybe the burning of the
They
house
showed the
is
whole
not.
thing.
They did. They really did. I remember when I was in the theater, I was like, well, shit, they really did show the whole opening scene to us in the trailer. I mean,
Why?
well, I just don't understand why they would do that. I mean, yes, sometimes they'll show snippets of the opening scene in trailers, like we saw Tara, a snippet of the opening with Tara in the trailer,
We
but
saw
they didn't give
the
away a
whole
lot.
thing, except for them having
Yeah.
their. Also, okay, I need to talk about this with you. I am a massive Scream fan. If I have paid all that money to stay at the Marker House, which you actually can, it's a bed and breakfast, and Danny would never do this, which is why I married him. But Danny was like, "Man, this isn't fun." I'd be like, "Okay, well, you can go have fun in town. Go see if there's a cool bar or something. I'm gonna stay here and have a good time." I would
Uh-huh.
not be like, "Well, okay, baby, let's go home." What the flip?
Right.
Like, come
Yeah.
on. Who
Yeah.
does
Yeah.
that?
I know. It was kind of ridiculous,
Like, why would you even bring her then if you knew she'd be like, if she's that not into it?
Right.
Go with
You
the
should know
buddy.
those things ahead of time.
Exactly. Like, okay,
Yeah.
it's fine if your partner's not into that stuff, but then you don't bring them for that. You go
That's
with the
right.
buddy.
That's right. Absolutely. I agree 100%.
That was
No
crazy.
doubt.
Crazy.
Hmm.
I made me less sad when she bit it. Even though props on you, girl, for really fighting hard. Like, she
She
tried.
fought hard, and it's just too bad that we knew exactly how she was going to die.
They shouldn't have
It's
shown her
crazy.
falling. At least
Nope.
don't show that. But I knew
Right.
everything that was going to happen. That whole
Yeah.
opening scene was just kind of a bummer, which it sucks because this franchise is built on these great opening, shocking scenes. And,
Yeah.
like you said, with Tara, they didn't show the whole thing, but that's when they started
Right.
to kind of show them a lot. I mean, in the trailers, they would show Drew, but it was kind of presented like she was going to be a major character. They didn't show us
Right.
anything that showed that she was going to die.
Yep. That's right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the marketing is thinking as far as these trailers are concerned, but it's very concerning, and it's a catch-22 because as a content creator, we got to watch them. You know what I mean? And I will, but I almost wish that I didn't or don't, and
Yeah,
it's just too bad.
it makes it hard to
It does.
want to, because I gave so little marketing on this, so we were hungry for any bit of marketing we got. Oh, there's a new poster,
Yeah.
let's go check it out. There's a new trailer, because there wasn't that many, and usually I watch just like the first one or two trailers. Project
Hmm.
Hail Mary's coming out. That's my most anticipated movie of the year. Didn't watch the
Hmm.
last trailer because I want to be surprised. I saw enough. I'm
Yep.
gonna be there. I don't need to see anymore. But with Scream, they gave us so little
Yep.
that every little snippet we got, we had to watch. And they shouldn't. I mean, you would think they would know better than to show a dead body in the trailer or to
I
show the
know.
whole opening. The whole first
I
trailer was
know.
basically the opening.
Yes, I just could not believe, because we pieced it together pretty well. It's an
And
Airbnb. They're staying there. They get attacked. The animatronic will be real. She's gonna be hanging off, and on top of Ghostface. She falls right onto the knife. There's gonna be a fire. We even saw when someone was on fire. So as soon as he got up and was kind of walking around, I was just like, he's gonna light her on fire. Like, and I knew it. I knew it. It's like, it's too bad because that's a very important thing, not only in the film, but like you said, for the franchise.
I definitely think that had to have been Stu, because who else would care that people in
Right.
his house,
Right. Yeah.
treating it
Yeah. It
like
just,
it's an amusement park? Nobody
yeah.
else would. Certainly, the ghost faces in that movie didn't care.
Yeah.
And to
Yeah.
take a plane all the way over to Woodsboro and back,
Right.
I get if you're coming from Woodsboro, you started
Yeah.
in Woodsboro and you're going there. But no, I gotta go all the way over to Woodsboro, kill a couple kids, go all the way back, and before it's time to put dinner out for my kids. So like that's
Right.
crazy.
Yeah, it was a lot of logic jumps, unfortunately. It really was. Oh
But
my
not so
god.
much if it's Stu, dude.
That's right. That's the only thing they got. That's the only thing they got. And I'm gonna tell you, it makes sense to me, but hell, having him be revealed in this film made a lot of sense to me too. So
I
I'm
agree.
still nervous. I'm still nervous, man. I don't know. We'll see though. I mean, Matthew, from what he's been saying, he said 7 shows that Stu can be alive and blah 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 blah,
What else has he
and
been saying? Because you're more on top of that stuff than I.
I,
I've been avoiding it.
yeah, I mean, he was just basically saying that 7 shows that Stu can be alive. He says, in my mind, Stu is alive, and that's pretty much all that he said. I'm sure if that is what he's been told will happen, he's got to be super careful. But at the same time, he has to kind of keep his same cadence that he's always had for all these years, basically always saying Stu is alive. I believe Stu is alive, and blah blah blah. So. I think he's going to have to be super careful as far as what he says.
Yeah, I also there's another thing he was touting a lot. Not so much this year, but definitely last year. He did a lot of tours with Ski Ulrich, and they
Yep.
talked a lot about how they were the first husbands of horror. And he's like, I just like want to make it very clear that as far as I'm concerned, Stu was in love with Billy Loomis. And I kept
Mhm,
thinking,
mhm.
why are you mentioning this so much? Unless
Yeah.
you want to tie into the Billy Loomis thing, which is attached to Sam's character thing. I wonder like if she had come back, if that would have been brought up again. But I also don't think that her not being in this movie means she's gone for good either. Maybe they're trying to
Yeah.
delay it until they can have Stu also confront her
Yeah.
because that's
Yeah.
Billy's daughter. I
Yeah.
mean, they were able to get Nev back, and I didn't think they would.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. You just never know. You never say never. You just
Mm-hmm.
never say never. It can happen. We've seen stranger things happen in horror. We've seen, Jamie Lee Curtis is a great example. Who would have thought after the debacle of Resurrection, she was pissed
Uh
off.
huh.
She was pissed off because H2O was supposed to be it, definitively killing Michael. That's what everyone said it was going to be. And then they circled back with Resurrection. She didn't even want to be in Resurrection, but she was contracted, and she said, "You got to get me out of this ASAP." And that's why her scene is just so truncated and stupid, by the way,
Yes.
as far as how she goes out.
Mm-hmm.
And you would have thought she would have never come back. She didn't need to be in Halloween. At that point, she was an actress doing all this. She was in True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
She doesn't need to do Michael Myers anymore. But they came back with a script that she respected and that made sense and allowed her as an actress to work. And she comes back. John Carpenter came back on board. And he had some big
Yeah.
arguments with
So,
the
like, I'm saying
Accods.
never say never. And I
That's
know
right.
Melissa is still tight with the rest of the cast members. It's the studio she's got an issue with. And Nev Campbell had
Yep.
an issue with the studio, too, which is why I'd like them to just get away from Spyglass.
Yeah. Yep.
Because the cast members all still like each other. They would all be happy to
Yeah.
work with each other again. It's more of a Spyglass issue. It's
Yep.
not even to do with Radio Silence or Kevin Williamson or any of that. So
Yep.
I think
That's
it's a
right.
definite possibility, and that is one way to tie it all together. But I'm
Yep.
not going to get super hopeful of that one because I think it's a little less likely. But
Mhm.
I wonder if also they're trying to drag things out to see what strings they can pull. Because I wouldn't have thought they
Yeah.
could have gotten Nev back for this, and they did.
I know. I know. As soon as I heard that, I was like, "Holy crap, they did it."
Yeah, right. Quirik has a good question. He says, "Where was the psych ward located? Wasn't it in? It's Pine Groves, right?"
Yeah. Um, I can't remember exactly where it was. I used to kind of, know that and stuff when we were trying to piece stuff together before the film
Oh
came
my
out.
gosh. So that's the other thing too that I was kind of kicking myself. Well, not really because I don't like to overdo it too much because I like to be surprised. But
Yeah.
how like in deep Steven would get. Like he'd go deep
Oh
and
yeah.
he'd figure out stuff just by watching. He would have pieced together, okay, she's got this many outfits. They take place at these different days. He would have put
Yep.
the whole movie together in chronological order.
Yeah, he would
Like,
have. It's
oh
true.
my god, because it was there. It's in the trailer. So
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it really was there in the trailer, man.
like
I
every
just
beat
can't
of the
believe it.
movie. So if you put together like her outfits, Tatum's outfits, you could have drawn a pretty clear map of the movie with the exception of that final act.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I will say the thing that also kind of got me was just based on that first trailer, we had a lot of the bones of this thing, the opening act, the relationship, how it was going to kind of be the vibe, at least with Sydney and Tatum. Tatum has a couple of friends. We saw some images or some shots of Ghostface attacking people, killing, or at least seemingly killing a lot of people, even in that trailer. And then you just think to yourself, okay, we're gonna have a third act, and there's gonna be a reveal, and peace out. So yeah, I just think that I don't know. I just hope that with 8 they can just really pull the trigger and have a little bit more creativity, and also the marketing doesn't give away as much. I really hope that the marketing can chill.
So posted. God, that sounds redundant. Posted something that makes me. Oh, I'm excited. Maestro, you got me excited. So they say, judging by the rules of the series, after the events of 7, I think Gale now has to write a book that further investigates the stew theory. You're 100% right. I hadn't even thought of that. But you are
Yeah.
100% right, because she would definitely be like, how did I not know this? And the only reason I think that she wouldn't have is because it has been painful for her since Dewey. She hasn't written
Yeah.
any new books since
Yeah.
Dewey.
Agreed.
But this is something that gets right back to the beginning of it. And I mean, she was the person who realized that Cotton was innocent. She is a good investigative
Mhm.
reporter. She could get into this and be like, okay, there is actually a lot here that we didn't know
Yeah.
about, that we've been missing out these past few years. And even then, because Kirby was investigating something, then you also have your way of getting Kirby back. Oh, you've got
Mhm.
something there. That's exciting.
Yep, I agree. That could really be fun. I mean, and it makes sense, and it could give Gail something, which she needs. She just can't just be always like, talking to Sydney like, "Yeah, girl, yeah, we can do it," and blah blah blah. She has to have her own little arc
Yeah, be an
that runs
investigative
parallel.
reporter again.
Yep, that's right.
And then you
I
got
agree.
Kirby with the horror knowledge, and oh yes, I'm already feeling it, and
Hmm.
I'm getting excited for Scream 8, dude.
Yep.
Not too
Yep.
excited. I could see that you're like, I want to be excited. I want to be a woo girl on this, but I'm not gonna. Night, it's okay. I will not tell anybody that you wooed, that
Uh,
you got excited.
no, I mean, yeah, I mean, and I think like you said, because I was saying that too. I want to see this a second time and really let it like absorb. Now that the shock and awe of the third act has kind of happened, I can kind of you know, delve a little bit deeper. And like I said, leaving the theater, I was still, yeah, I was like, all right, there's some good stuff in that. So it's not like I hated it, but I was just frustrated. But like you said, eight could fix so much. It could be a great movie, and it also could fix a lot of things in this movie that, just wasn't at the level that we would have wanted or thought it could be at. Because they had all the ingredients. They
It
had
did.
all the
It
ingredients.
did.
Yep.
And Quirk, absolute salute to Steven. Team Banana Pants, we still reside in the caboose of the stew train.
That's right. We
I'm
do.
gonna ride that train all the way.
Yep. It's
um,
true.
and yeah, he also asked about where Fallbrook was. It is 3 hours away, so it's nowhere near Woodsboro.
Mhm.
So yeah, the only person I think who would have enough motive to fly all the way to California, because where is Pine Grove again? It's on the East Coast, isn't it?
It's I thought it was in the middle of the country,
Maybe
not
it
on the
is.
East Coast. I thought it was Indiana.
I'm gonna, you know what? I've only ever been on the West Coast because not born in this country, so I'm gonna use that as my excuse. But yeah, it's quite far away, and I think unless you have an actual reason to go there because your house you grew up in is there. Both, think you and I are catching the same cold, which is crazy because we are on different coasts of the
I
country.
know.
We're both
I'm
sniffling.
sorry.
No, you're fine.
I'm
You're fine. I'm
sorry.
doing the same thing, buddy. Maybe it's like a empathy thing
Right?
because I had allergies before this started, so it would be my fault. I have to talk to you about one more thing before we call it a night. I gotta
Okay.
talk to you about Joel frickin' McHale. That dude
Yeah.
was supposed to bite it.
He was, man, and I'm gonna tell you what, I made a big apology to him when I first
Wait,
talked
what?
about spoilers. Yeah, I did. I liked him. Did you not like him in the film?
He's not McDreamy.
Well, he's definitely not. He's definitely not. But I gotta admit, I thought he did for what he was asked to do. I thought,
No,
he
he
had some
was
good scenes.
fine. I see what they're doing here.
Yeah,
I was surprised he survived.
I
But
was too.
I
I was
did
like, how could he
realize
survive?
pretty early on when I saw the construction in their house, I was like, okay, that's where that scene takes place. Like I was putting some things together, trying not to, but I mean, it is in your head.
Yeah,
But I did think he was a good member of this family, being that he is a cop. He was on it. He wasn't like, I've got to protect you guys. No, he trusted Sydney to do her thing. He trusted
yeah,
his
yeah,
daughter, Tatum. She's like, I'm not going away. I'm staying here. Like, he trusted and respected his family to be able to stand up. And I think that's cool. I still kind of want him to bite it. And I still kind of want original McDreamy Mark to come
yeah,
back. Also,
yep,
Sydney,
yep.
what's your deal with all the marks? I mean, I get
I
it.
know.
I've dated like 5 different Matts. I don't know why. Like, Matts are just, they see me coming. And I've heard this. Like, Quirk told me he's got a thing with Courtney's. Or what about Tammy on Parks and Rec? How he had, I don't
Oh,
even know any Tammys. And he's been married to like 2. It's a
oh
thing.
man.
Certain people attract certain names. So I'm
I
thinking for
guess so.
Sydney, it's just marks. But the Mark
It's
that
gotta
got
be.
away, like, I feel like he's got to come back, and there's gonna be
Yeah.
like feelings there.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just too bad that Patrick had scheduling conflicts, and of course the fires that happened.
Yeah.
That kind of messed up everything for him too. And it's like, dang, man, it just would have been so cool to see that connection to 3
But what
as
about
we always
this?
saw.
What about this night? So check this out. Like her 2 kids, they're off at grandma's house. Why? Because they're freaking little is why. Why are they so
Right,
little
right.
and why is Tatum so old? Doesn't make sense unless Tatum is McDreamy Mark's kid. Right?
That
So that's
could
why he
work.
comes back. And then she's going to have to tell her, I'm sorry, Joel McHale Mark is not your dad. McDreamy Mark's your dad. Right?
Hey, it could work.
I
It
think
could
so.
work. I love Patrick Dempsey. I'd love to see him come back. If they could make it work, I'd
So
be all up for
cheesy.
it.
What's your favorite movie? My life.
My life. I know. I love it though. It was great. 3 was so
No,
much fun, man. 3
it's so
doesn't get
much
enough love. It's
fun.
so much fun. I laugh. I'm invested in the characters, and it's a good movie. It really
And
is.
3 is exactly something about Scream that's never been important to me as opposed to like Friday the 13th is I've never cared about the kills. It was fun that we got some cool kills in this, but for me that's not what Scream is. It's about
Right.
the hero characters, it's about their relationships and the mystery and the
Yes.
meta aspect of it I think is really interesting. Like what are they going to comment on this time that's going to
Yeah.
get us like, oh, you're right. So that is a lot more interesting to me. And Scream 3 did all of that. It didn't do
Yep.
much for the kills, but like I said, I had to like retroactively go, I guess there were some gory kills in parts 1 and 2, but I'd never really noticed it because compared to Friday the 13th, it's pretty tame.
Right, right, exactly. Yeah, it's the kills is not the thing that they lead with. It really isn't.
Quirk says he's sticking up for this movie. So you were a big fan of this movie, right, guys? Let me know in the chat like how you felt about this movie. We're going to be wrapping it up here, but do share your thoughts with us. I'm probably going to wrap up about like 10 minutes. So let me know what you thought of this movie, what you thought really worked, what you thought didn't work. Kelly says Joel was the best part of the movie. He was impressive. I
Mhm.
mean, he's fine if you don't have McDreamy Mark. I can see why he would be a substitute.
Yeah. Yep.
But then
Yep.
he's going to come back, and then she's going to be like, what? And I'm stuck with this Joel McHale Mark. And I got 2 kids with this guy. Oh my gosh. It's going to be so hard. There'll be a love triangle.
Oh no. Yeah. Wow. We're really going down that road.
Crazy. Craziness, dude. What
Yeah.
if McDreamy Mark is also tied to, like, I mean, you could get really weird with it. Like, we never did meet the Carpenter, Tara Carpenter's dad.
That's true. Yep.
What if it was
Yep.
McDreamy?
Oh.
What? They have the
No.
same taste in men.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, that's 2 banana pants for him, guys. You see his face? That's 2 banana pants. 2 banana pants.
And we also didn't get Christina Carpenter either. That was a theory that was floating
Yeah,
out
that was
there.
floating
Yep.
around a lot. So I
Yep.
do hope that they don't just push that aside. I mean, I don't think they're going to, because if they were
Yeah,
going
I
to do
don't think
that,
so
they
either.
wouldn't have brought in the Meeks twins.
Right, right, right.
So I
Yeah.
know those characters mean a lot to Kevin and to a lot of other people involved in making these movies, to Radio Silence. So I'm not giving up on seeing them again or getting more to their story. Though I do agree with Melissa Burr. She said I feel like there was a great ending to her character arc.
Yeah, there was. I mean, it definitely can end right there. But as we all know in horror, when you have a character that is a final character, and she was a great one twice, hey,
Oh,
you know,
they're not going to let her go. Even if it's
no.
not in Scream 8 or Scream 9. When she's like
Yep,
50, they'll be like, "So, do you want to do
yep,
Scream 20?"
yep.
Oh,
That's
dude.
right.
Dude,
Yep.
she is tied to this franchise. She was not just in one of the movies, but she survived and she was a final girl.
Yeah, and she took it on from Nev. I mean, that's a
Yeah,
huge thing, man. I mean, you think about like Danielle Harris. I mean, being featured in those two films as the lead character as a kid, and we didn't have Jamie Lee Curtis anymore, and look how that worked out for Danielle Harris in her career. She's always tied to Halloween because she really kept the ball rolling when we didn't have Laurie Strode anymore, and that mattered
exactly.
to a lot of people. It
It
mattered to me
does.
as a kid.
Me
I know
too.
that. As a little kid, I was like, yeah, I like this Danielle Harris. Let me keep track of her career.
Yeah.
And so Melissa's gonna have that. Melissa's gonna have that.
Yeah, I don't think it's the last we've seen of her in Scream.
No.
Unless she absolutely doesn't want to. But I
Right.
think she's gonna come back because it's just it's an important character in the franchise. So
Yep. Yep.
I feel like there was something else I was gonna ask you about. Oh yeah. We finally got Ghostface calling on air. Well, it wasn't on air. Is it during the commercial break? I kind of wish it was on air. I saw
Yeah.
Mark
Yeah.
Consuelos like, "Oh, that was another
Yeah.
one." You were like, "I bet he's the another anchor," and I'm like, "I bet you're right with those shiny
Right.
white teeth." He freaking
Yep.
was. You
He
called
was.
that
It was. Yep. Yep. Because I was thinking, what else are they gonna have Mark Consuelos do? It's like he's got to do that, right?
exactly?
So yeah, he
But
was. I gotta admit, he was good in that
he
role.
was good.
I thought he did a great job for that bit that he
He's
did.
not aging. He's probably a vampire. I don't
Right.
trust him any further than I can throw
Right.
him. I don't trust
It's
anybody
like,
with
oh,
teeth that white and who doesn't age. He's a
right.
vampire.
He is, man. He
He should
really
be in the
is. It's
next
crazy.
Dracula movie.
He should.
But I did love that scene. I thought it was cool that Ghostface called. I wish it had been on air. I also think
Yeah.
there's room for him because he didn't die in it, if I remember correctly.
No.
I
No.
think there's room for him to still be involved as his like rival or person that Gale works with that causes a lot of tension.
Yeah, I think that could be still fun. Why not? You know,
I was
it gives
more
Gale
invested in
something.
that than the English teacher. I was like, never thought that was a thing.
Yeah, and and I was just talking about that the other day too. It's like the English teacher was just ridiculous. Whereas in Scream 2, you have the great David Warner who popped, like when he was talking to Sydney and
Yes.
helping her with the play. And it was like it was cool. You have an actor who is a well-known character actor like David Warner, and he brought the gravitas and he made that moment work. Whereas this guy, it's nothing against the actor. I think I know him best from Handmaid's Tale, but he's fine, but he was just kind of a dick. And it's
He was a
like,
little mustache twirly, like he was a little too
yeah,
obvious.
right,
So
right, right. It's
I
like,
didn't buy him.
bro, yeah, I didn't buy him for any bit. Even when Nev was looking through the crowd and she's looking at him and he's just like all like
Oh, for Pete's
mean
sake.
mugging. It's
Never
like, bro,
bought
you're not Ghostface.
Jessica's kid either, the movie guy. I was like, nope, not
Yeah,
him. It's
too
not him.
creepy.
Too
Yeah,
too creepy. You can be
yep,
and
too
that's how they
creepy.
got me with Billy, all right? I got once with that, but most of the time if it's too obvious, it's not them.
That's right.
So
That's right.
your guys' reviews. Kelly says the first 2/3 of the movie were great. The third act let all the air out of the balloon. The rest of the movie inflated. It even made that little fart noise as it went away. Yep. Danny agrees. Mark should have been played by Ryan Phillippe or Josh Hartnett. See, that's what I'm talking. You should have brought back another 90s heartthrob, especially because Josh Hartnett's back. I need Josh Hartnett to get back involved with Halloween is what I need.
Right? I know. That would be so cool,
Once
man.
he started acting again, I was like, okay, so where's my Halloween movie with Josh
right?
Hartnett? I used to adore him so much from The Faculty. His weird little tufty hair he never put down.
I know.
Oh my God, adore him.
He overcame a lot.
He found hair gel.
He did.
Oh boy. Danny's also a big Danielle Harris fan. I've met her. You've met her too, right?
Yes. Oh my God.
She is
yes.
super cool.
Bro, I'm telling you, I didn't want to let her go when I gave her a hug. It was just like, but I know I've got to. She was very cool, very friendly, loves her fans. And you just love seeing that, because it's like, this is an actor that I watched when I was a little kid. And,
that's what makes it
just
so cool is because like when we were kids, there was actual movies where there were kids who were kicking ass. I mean, yes, we had our Goonies and that stuff, but in horror movies, a kid going against Michael Myers is pretty badass. A kid going against Jason Voorhees is awesome. That's why these kids mean so much to us.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, but she's awesome. And she's got a new movie that she's in. I forgot the name of it. I just saw it from Bloody Disgusting. But she's amazing. She really is.
But
she needs more.
Not aging.
Yeah, I know, right?
I saw her.
Just look at her.
You see her in person, and I'm like, okay, I was willing to say it was like AI or Photoshop, but no, she looks amazing.
Yeah, and plus, and she's so short too, so she still has like this kid-like
I try
vibe.
Not to say, like, it's not good to comment on people, especially because they hear it all the time. But I couldn't help it. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so small.
Yeah, she is.
Me,
she's
like a big deal, because I always think of her as like when I was a kid, like, being like, I think she's a little bit older than me, and just like a kid that you would look up to, and then she's just like, but I think it's all the cooler because it makes like, scrappy.
Yeah,
like Buffy's less than 5 foot, I think too. So
small
and mighty.
Yeah, you gotta love it, man. And Sarah Michelle Gellar is gonna be in Ready or Not too.
I know. I can't wait. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Project Hail Mary. And you know what's really surprising that I'm looking forward to? Never looked forward to any of the ones in the past. Scary Movie. That looks amazing.
Yeah. It does. I can't wait to see it.
I saw that trailer and I'm like, oh, this is my top 5 now.
Yeah, they're going to be railing on everything. From the trailer, you could see them railing on everything. Terrifier, weapons, Scary Movie. I mean, Scream. Just everything.
Really good ones too.
Yeah.
I'm super excited. Post says, I'm with you guys. Reveals are a big issue for me, but when Stu is revealed as the mastermind, it might school up to my top 3 or 4 in the franchise. Yeah, I agree. That's how I think too. Like, I think I retroactively will like this even more if my crazy banana pants theories, Team Banana Pants, are true. Gory B, you and I are killing it. Hit the like button. Thank you, Denisha, and awesome to hang out with you tonight. Why are you guys calling him the English teacher? I don't know. He was a drama teacher.
Yeah.
He was a humanities teacher. I called him the English teacher because yeah. I don't know what I'm talking about, but no, you're right. He was the drama teacher. Yes, he had that English teacher vibe. Wasn't he wearing tweed?
He did. Yeah. He had that vibe. Yeah.
No,
exactly.
No. You're the drama teacher. You wear an ascot, like a self-respecting drama teacher. We wearing tweed. I was an English major. That whole department's tweed. They get tweed on the walls.
That's right. It's so true.
Craziness. And also, guys, thank you, Danny, for posting the link. Nightwatch Zone. So, yeah, let's wrap it up. Let everyone know what you're working on. Do subscribe if you're not already. I think I just assume you guys are already subscribed. But if you're not already, for whatever reason, please subscribe to the Nightwatch Zone. On top of that, Night also has a killer podcast. You can check it out on all the platforms. But if you can head on over to Apple and leave a review, that would be super rad. The link is in the description below.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I'm just doing what I usually do and, streaming at least twice a week and, doing the collective with Killjoy Jake and Fate Decided. And, just having some fun with the podcast and kind of focusing on some different things. And actually, coming up maybe in another week or two, I'm going to be focusing on some other horror movies that I haven't really focused on that I'm really dying to. And Jake's going to be doing it on his channel as well. And then, of course, when we do the Kill Zone, we always flip flop on each other's channel. So it's going to be some cool stuff. It'll be some fun stuff.
That's awesome. Looking forward to that. And on this channel, I will be streaming again next Sunday. And it's our true crime night, guys. So Kim will be back. We'll be talking some true crime. Hopefully you guys can check that out. You can also catch me over on Horror Addicts this Friday for the Oscars. It's our horror movie awards. You're going to see me on there, Knight on there, Rhonda Shearer on there. Like,
Yeah.
so many amazing channels. We get a different channel to present every single award, and the awards that you guys nominated and you guys voted on. So it's super fun. So hopefully I will see you guys on Friday.
Yeah.
And anything else you want to say before we call it a night?
Like I said, I'm just happy that this franchise is still alive and well, because we've had a lot of great conversations about it all throughout the community. So many of us, content creators and so forth, will continue to have great discussions. And, no matter what we feel right now with this particular film, either side of the fence, a win for this film, a win for this franchise is a win for all of horror, and I'm all for that. So
I agree.
if we have these franchises that are showing that they can continue to move forward, no matter what that amount is, it's good. It's good for the rest of horror. So yeah, I'm just glad that Scream is still around.
Do we know when Scream 8's coming out? Is it next year?
They said that they were going to start production, I believe in April. Like they greenlit this a few months ago. Even before it was 7 was released, and the original thing that they said is they were going to start production in the spring. So
Wow.
I don't know. It could be out in a year, maybe. Who knows?
Well, we might be riding this train again next year, guys. Well, thank you
Yes.
guys so much. Thank you, Post and Cosmic and Quirk and Danny and Derek. Thank you all for watching Tatum. Had a great time hanging out with you. Thank you, Knight. It's always a pleasure to talk some
Yeah.
screen with you and talk some horror with you. So hopefully we
Absolutely.
will hang out again here soon.
You know it. You know it.
Thank you so much. And until we meet again, blessed be.